Welcome to the Center for Student Learning Study Skills Workshop, Plan for Exams. My name is Melissa Hortman, and I am the Study Skills Coordinator in the Center for Student Learning, and I will be speaking today for this presentation. Final exams can be a stressful time, so planning ahead can help alleviate a lot of stress and anxiety as this time in the semester comes around. We will discuss how to make academics your top priority, managing your time leading up to and during final exams, and study methods to help give you that boost during this time. Exams can be very stressful, so know what you can do now to avoid cramming in the end. Take a minute to read this quote. What do you think this quote has to do with taking final exams? We must always be prepared for what is to come by studying for days for a very short exam. However, studying for days to prepare is the only way to be confident in the material and not become stressed or anxious. It may seem like finals are far away and there are more pressing matters before final exams, but you should always be preparing for what is to come next. Let's think for a minute about what our final obligations might be during final exams time. There's a lot that goes on during this time. Holiday planning, traveling, packing, seeing friends before you all leave for break, last assignments or tests in classes, events on campus, last meetings for your organizations for the semester, extra hours at work, and many other things that may come up. Take time to think about your priorities and how you might plan for all of these obligations during this already stressful time of the year. One of the things we need to think about while planning for exams is how to make academics your top priority during this time. Academics may have taken a backseat in your life throughout parts of the semester, but now is the time to buckle down in your classes and attend each class meeting. There is not much time left in the semester, so your professor may be giving out important information, hints of what might be on the exam, extra credit, and information that may be on the final exam. Just attending class and getting the notes firsthand can make a big difference in the amount of information you're able to learn, much easier than getting it secondhand. Now is also the time to venture out and utilize those resources around you for assistance. Take the time to visit a tutoring lab, make a study skills appointment, see your advisor, go to your professor's office hours, or see the counseling center. There is a lot of offices on campus in place to assist you in any challenges you may be facing. So come to get the help you need before it's too late in the semester. Another way to be prepared for finals is to reevaluate your goals and goal grades, since you want to know where you want to be and how to get there. This could give you that last-minute motivation in one of your classes. You know you could put in some extra time and effort to attain your goal grade. The next major component of planning for exams is how to manage your time leading up to and during final exams. One of the pieces to managing your time effectively that we always seem to skip over is the time for planning. Setting up a schedule and plan takes time to do it correctly so you can be effective with your time. So take that little bit of time to set your schedule so you are not overwhelmed by all that you have to do. If you have been using monthly, weekly, or daily to-do lists throughout the semester and they have been working, keep using them. If you have not had a method to organize your schedule, now is a good time to try out the hour-by-hour weekly calendar that can help you break down all of the things you have to do throughout your day into a manageable schedule. Since you may begin to feel overwhelmed by the amount of tasks or just tired from the semester thus far, procrastination can definitely set in. Now is the time to try to push through and finish out strong. Find that motivation to push through the little time left in the semester. With managing your time comes planning and doing tasks ahead or completing them with buffer time. However, if you are not efficient with your time now, you may fall into cramming for an exam, and this can be a very inefficient way to study, which we will discuss later in this workshop. Take a minute to look at these two triangles, with the left being how most college students' study habits look like, and the right with the ideal student study habits. In actuality, most students do a large amount of their studying right before an exam. This is inefficient when you are trying to learn and remember information for a final exam. If you can flip that triangle around where you are doing a little bit more work on a daily and weekly basis, such as going to class, rereading notes, making study materials, and mastering information before your professor moves on to new material, you are more able to learn information to remember for an extended period of time, apply it on exams, and differentiate it from other study materials. Since this time of the year is so stressful, and we already see that you have a lot of obligations, in the next 3 slides we will go over some things you can do in 5, 15, and 30 minutes. This slide shows what you can do if you have 5 minutes. This is a lot of different academic and social things. You decide which you would like to use that extra 5 minutes for. Take a minute to read over all of the tasks. These are simple tasks that do not require you to be sitting or really in the academic mode, but can help prepare you for that time you do sit down and learn information. Now with 15 minutes, you can do even more. Take a look at all the tasks with just 15 minutes you can accomplish. Again, you are not able to get into that critical thinking level within this time period, but you can still get academic tasks completed. There are also social and relaxing things you can use your 15 minutes for if you need to take a brain break. It may seem like you don't need to use every free 15 minutes you have for something, but this is where procrastination can creep in. If you don't set a time limit for yourself on tasks, whether they are academic or social, they can run longer than you thought they would, and all of a sudden half of your afternoon is done. Take that extra 15 minutes you have and do something with it. Finally, with 30 minutes you can do even more. Take a minute to look over the tasks you can accomplish in 30 minutes. Here is where you can get into that critical thinking level to learn information or have time to write. You can study a topic in depth, do a practice test, read a chapter, and do many other academic tasks within this time limit. These slides were to show you that even with the little time you may have in chunks here and there throughout your day, because you are busy, you can still get a lot of tasks completed if you stay on it and keep on yourself. Keep yourself and your tasks to time limits, like we talked about earlier, to be sure you are being efficient every chunk available in your day. Although there are a lot of opportunities to be efficient and keep moving from chunk of time to another chunk of time, you may get stuck from time to time. This is nothing to stress over because it can happen more often than not, especially at a stressful time. There are some things you can ask yourself when you get stuck. The first being, what is one task I can accomplish? It helps to break down your tasks into smaller, more manageable and realistic tasks. Try and take that approach to your tasks when you get stuck. Next, you can ask yourself if you are being too hard on yourself. Some of us may be perfectionists or even pessimists, and may be naturally hard on ourselves. So try to put that behind you when you get stuck. You can also ask yourself if you've hit the study wall and need a brain break. This is an important thing to be conscious of while studying. You need to recognize when you have hit that wall where you are getting distracted easily or can't seem to concentrate on the material anymore. And at that time, you need to take a short break and come back to whatever you are getting stuck on. More tips when you are getting stuck are pushing through, doing one more simple task before you're done, and constantly be checking in on yourself to be sure you aren't wasting your time by just sitting there. You need to pay attention to your attention while studying. This can possibly help you to organize your studying throughout your day to know when you are being efficient in each subject as you are studying it. When you get stuck, just ask yourself questions to keep you moving or moving on. There are a lot of resources out there about procrastination, but if you're a procrastinator now, you will always be a procrastinator. It is not about getting rid of this habit, but it is about knowing how to work with your procrastination and what your triggers are. Here are some quick tips on what you can do if you start procrastinating. Try to find an accountability partner or mentor which you can share your plans with. Or even worse, make your plans public on social media. This is a good way to have others check in on you and see if you are doing what you said you would. This can also be done through utilizing study groups. Study groups are an effective way to study by minimizing time spent learning, as long as you can stay on track, and open up other views and ideas on topics. You can also step back and check in on yourself from time to time. This is something I talked about when you get stuck as well. You should always be looking back at what you have completed to see if you are completing your topics for the time you allotted. You can set these goals for the time you are studying in a chunk by using the Study Power Hour. You can find more information about this topic from the Center for Student Learning's handouts. Finally, you can save your procrastination habits as a reward for when you are completely done studying. This is tough to do right away, but can it help you use fun as a break or activity when you are completely done studying. There are a lot of cons to cramming, and even more cons when it comes to cramming for final exams. Cramming is a temporary fix for remembering information for a very short period of time. When you cram for an exam, it is not giving your brain enough time to actually learn the information to remember it for an extended period of time or differentiate it from another information in your brain. This means you cannot learn any new information within 12 hours of an exam because this is about how long it takes your brain to have time to learn and downtime to store the information. If you are trying to cram right before an exam, it makes your brain work much harder than it would during normal studying, which can turn heightens anxiety and stress. Once you are stressed, it is even harder to focus to study and memorize information because your brain is also stressed. All in all, cramming is a bad idea, so if you can plan now for exams, you can avoid all of this. When you are sitting down, be sure you are using active study strategies. Active studying strategies are exactly what it sounds like, being actually active in the ways you are studying and not using passive studying. By this point in the semester, you probably have figured out some study strategies that work for you as an individual. Keep using them and find out more by taking the VARK, which you can find in the Center for Student Learning. Your learning style can inform more study techniques that would work for you. And that would mean that you could possibly find some new techniques that might challenge your learning better than techniques you are currently using. You can also chunk material to master it, which can be done in the Study Power Hour. Take a minute to look through all of the different study methods. There are a lot of study methods out there, and that is a great thing. You have options of what you would like to do for each of your courses. Look at each of the first words in the study methods. They are all verbs. This means you should be doing something with your material to learn it better. This is a great way to think about studying. It is a multisensory experience where the more senses you are using, the more material you can retain. Take a minute to look over this list of how you can retain information. Keep this in mind when you're sitting down to study throughout finals, so you can be sure to retain the most amount of information you can just by simply altering your study techniques to be more active. You see that you can retain 80% of what you experience personally, which means when you can relate to the material personally and remember it in ways that you can easily tie to memories, you can retain a lot of information. Even more than that, if you can teach others, maybe in a group study session, call a family member, or even teach yourself in the mirror a topic, you can retain about 95% of that information. Being able to teach another person a topic and have them understand it can be difficult. So you really need to have mastered material to be able to explain it to others, which means you have a deeper and better understanding of the material. These are simple ways to retain more information as you study. One of the biggest challenges you may have during finals time is the amount of stress and anxiety that can come up because of so much to study and do in so little time. Be sure you're making a conscious effort to reduce stress because it can become very overwhelming. You have developed habits over the semester that you should not stop doing now because finals is coming up. Always get sleep. Remember to eat meals at appropriate times. Keep a similar schedule of getting up at the same time every day. Exercise even though you may not feel like you have time. And always take brain breaks while studying. During finals time there are no classes, so use that time you are scheduled to be in class as study time. This scheduled study time can keep you on track because as you study in increments, you are mastering topics. Never give up on studying and always know that some studying is better than none. However, since you are taking the initiative to plan for exams by watching this workshop, you'll be able to start early in your preparation for final exams. Starting early in itself can be a way of reducing stress and anxiety, going back to the first quote by Washington stating, "To be prepared for war is one of the most effective means of preserving peace." Now does this quote make a little more sense? If you can start early and be prepared for finals, you can reduce that stress and anxiety that may be debilitating during this time in the semester. Finally, be sure to keep an eye out for Cougar Countdown during final exams. Cougar Countdown is a list of fun, free events around campus that are stress relieving, such as Zumba, snack breaks, pancake breakfast, and pets on campus. Take your brain break during one of these events to get you up and having fun during your break. This concludes the Plan for Exams workshop. If you have any further questions about this workshop or the content, please come to or contact the Center for Student Learning at 843-953-5635. We are located on the first floor of the Addlestone Library off of Calhoun Street and are also mobile at csl.cfc.edu. Please take a look at our other videos available for other topics and online library of handouts as a resource. We hope to see you in the CSL soon.